We're halfway through, huh? It's flying by. But we're making progress. We're definitely doing the right thing and in track to what we said we wanted to do. Be proud of the team that we've created when we leave this place. So halfway there, very confident in the steps that we've taken, but obviously not close to the finished product. Offense is showing flashes, obviously, of what we can be. You're seeing the playmakers out there make plays. Having to move guys around with guys injured up front. Guys are coming in, stepping up, taking advantage of opportunities. So yeah, very, very excited about where we are and what we're going to continue to do. We just have to continue to approach each day like we have, and not have days like yesterday, obviously, where we missed some reps and plays, and control the discipline, something that's needed to be worked on anyways. And so we're definitely headed in the right direction to be proud of what we put together when we leave Oxnard.
Running back room. Because last couple, since you've been quarterback, you've always had a guy, whether it be Zeke or Pollard or Rico, and this time we're not sure who might be the star.
Yeah, I think that is fun, honestly, and I think each one of those guys would probably say the same, and they appreciate the competition. And at the end of the day, you know, it's not going to be one guy regardless. If you say, hey, this guy's the starter now, I mean, that doesn't say detail out he's going to take this many reps or this or that throughout the season. So I think it's probably I don't want to say better for them, because, you know, it's tough to say that individually when you're a competitor. You want to be the guy, right? But understanding that they're all going to get reps, and we've just got to figure out who it is that may take more than the other. But more than that, who's doing what best. And, you know, whether it be this type of run, that type of run, or the pass game, being able to throw Terp in the mix. I think it's awesome just to have a versatile group like that, and not knowing necessarily which one's going to be. And who knows, that could be week to week too.
Clarence Hill, DLLS Cowboys. How do you feel? I saw you fake. You dropped the hammer and went to the end zone and told CD to run with you.
I was racing him.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I mean, I had a head start. But, yeah, I feel great. I feel great. And honestly, what that is just trying to make sure that I do push my limits in practice, you know, like not being hit. I'm not necessarily running away from people as fast as I can. So I've got to make sure that I do get some of those reps, and that was a good moment right there, just down the field. Hey, CD, you know, like, let's race with a head start. And so I knew I had to get it, and that's just going to make sure and prepare me for the games. You know, it can't be the first time that I'm running for my life, I guess you can say, when I get out there on Thursday against Philly. So I feel great, and it's just continuing to try to build on that, and you'll see flashes of that throughout the week, and that's me just, you know, pushing myself and preparing myself for game-like moments. Perhaps. Perhaps, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that I didn't do camp the right way, but I know I went into the season and, you know, those first few games didn't run at all. And then I got into that game and was very vocal that, you know, I'm going to use my legs and this and that. And more times than not, ran in that game and, you know, ended up with a hammy issue after. Is that potentially? But more importantly, it's about where I am now and the growth, and just trying to get better and not have anything like that come up again. So just trying to prepare for everything.
Best day today, throwing the ball to CD and pick. You know, I don't know if you felt that way, but it seemed like those playmakers were picking with you.
Yeah, there were some great plays out there. I've told you over and over, y'all know it, I'm as hard as myself, I feel like, as anybody. So it was a good day, not a great day. There was misses out there as well. Want the one right there at the back of the end zone to CD, where I guess, you know, he potentially was out of bounds, a throw that we've got to make. Maybe in real field where the back of the end zone's bigger, I can tell. But definitely throws that felt good, but I mean, I want to leave practice perfect, and that's hard to do, and that's always going to be my standard. But I think it was a huge day for those guys, especially George. It wasn't just one play; it was each series. There was a play in the series that he was making different catches, big-time catches, showing up, and then obviously CD was CD. So it wasn't just about me today; it was about those guys and really the whole offense.
You mentioned George today. The touchdowns seem to be three different kind of plays: a goal ball, a little hole there at the last one, and you got him on the back shoulder, then showing his speed. How versatile have you learned that he is as a receiver?
Yeah, honestly, more versatile than I would say that I thought before we got him, you know. And then now having him, as I've continued to say over and over, it's a guy that loves the game of football. So everything that you give him, and the more you give him, he's going to answer that bell, and he wants more as much as he can. So I don't want to say I'm surprised, but he does have every tool in the bag, and it's fun to be able to get out there, and as we just said, in different periods, different throws, different kind of routes, different coverages for him to make plays. Just show he's a big-time guy, and to have another guy like that alongside CD is just going to be fun.
And then you've been used to seeing offensive linemen go in and out. You've got guys in and out here now. What are your thoughts on Nate Thomas if he has to step in for Guyton and how, you know?
Yeah, pumped for his opportunity. Nate's somebody that obviously we got last year, and then, with some injuries, kind of, I guess you would say, take the redshirt route, having to get himself back and healthy, and then was fortunate to train with Nate this offseason and spent some times and some sessions with Britt Brown on those bands and understanding the talent and the athleticism that I saw then. I started telling Nate, like, Nate, you can play. Like you can play. You've got the tools. You've got the tangibles. Like, this game's about confidence, and so I was trying to pour it into him then, not knowing that he'd have an opportunity a week and a half into camp to start running with the ones and showcasing his ability. But super proud of him, super proud of what he's done and the approach. And I mean, it goes back into the spring of us training and rehabbing and some of the days that were tougher and watching him push through it and give his best to now watching him walk out there confident and make plays. Super proud of him. And he's a Louisiana kid, so I'm always going to push for him.
John Michaud with The Athletic. I was going to ask you about Jonathan Mingo, what you thought of him so far, and did you know that he had an arm that strong?
Jeez.
throwing that ball?
No, I did not know his arm was that strong. I don't know if he realized how far he threw that ball. And physical. That's one thing that jumps out to me is physical and wants the ball and is going to win in one-on-one coverage. And saw it right there on that one-on-one play. Missed him yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever it was, on a go ball. But he gets open and he can make plays. He's a guy that knows the offense. You can move him around if he needs to. Super proud of where he's at. Obviously, when we brought him in last year, right, I was hurt, and so didn't even get much of a chemistry to work with him. But a guy that showed up every time in the offseason that I asked to throw, that I feel great and very, very comfortable with where he is now. And I think you're going to see a guy get more opportunities and take advantage of each opportunity that he gets as we move forward in this thing.
And then during practice yesterday, at the end of it, Coach Schottenheimer, frustrated with the fighting, had you guys, run off the sideline. Is that the first time he's had you guys do something like that? And were you surprised that he had you guys do that?
Yeah, it was definitely the first time. I wanted those plays. I can't say I'm surprised. I think, in a sense, it needed to be done, and that's what he felt, and that's the head coach. And I'd be damned if I question, that moment and his leadership ability in that time. And, he's preached to us about being competitive and not combative and playing on the edge and not going over the edge. And I think just a time or two yesterday, we crossed it. And it's hard for me to see why and how on any of those. So I can't question, his decision in that moment. Got to get on the line and run. And I think it was important for us to understand like how much we need those plays. And so as a professional and as an adult, that hurt the players, right? And so that's where we just got to understand that and know that we want to practice. And so we've got to be disciplined. And Osa did a great job breaking the team down after that, just kind of alluding to the lack of discipline that we were showing. And to win at a high level and to win late in the season, you got to have discipline. So it was a great challenge by Osa, a leader of this team. And I think guys answered, and even today when, got a little chippy because we're going to play at the edge. It didn't cross it. And so I think the reason why is, yesterday him making that statement and Osa stepping up and guys being professional. So it was needed.
Nick Harris, four-star Telegram. I know winning is the ultimate thing for you, but you sit 2,747 yards and 36 touchdowns away from setting franchise records in both those categories. Are you aware of that, and how cool would it be to accomplish that this season?
Yeah, I guess I'm aware of it. Didn't know about the touchdowns necessarily. I knew the yards were coming upon. I don't want to stop there. So it would be awesome. It's going to be cool, I should say. But that's not the end goal. I plan to have many more seasons, touchdowns, yards. So part of it, is the game in a sense, throwing it as much as I don't want to say throwing it more, but throwing it. I've had a career started from day one, here. So something that I felt like I should be doing, and would just be something that's cool to have, but not anything that weighs on me or that I'll carry and be, job well done on.
CD was talking yesterday
Yeah, he's right. I mean, it's going to be hard for defenses, you know what I mean, to double cover CD when you got a guy like George, and he's making the plays that he's making, and he's going to continue to do that. And yeah, and then especially when we attack back with Ferg and put the whole offense together. That's a guy who CD, who is, as we just talked about, matured and understand the game more. And as someone asked last time, right, who understands when he needs to be open. All of that is going to play a huge part, and it's very, very hard to cover that guy. I mean, I would say probably the hardest to cover in the league when you add the scheme to it, and then not only that, his ability, what he can do after the ball. Super talented guy, and he's right. And George helps him, and the rest of the offense helps him. So it's about us just continuing to make plays when the ball doesn't go to CD. That therefore some pressure can get off of him, and he can do his thing when it comes his way.
Tommy Yarsh, DallasCowboys.com. CD was saying yesterday that it kind of takes about 2 weeks to really get your body fully into, to get ready to go in terms of, the physicality aspects of things. Do you feel like that's accurate? Do you think maybe it takes a little bit longer just in terms of how long it takes to be game ready, for lack of a better term?
No, I think that's probably dead on. Week and a half, 2 weeks in. I'm feeling great right now, and I would say the last couple of days or practices out here, I felt that. And to what CD's saying, it's like you feel like you could go play a game. And for me, it's the mindset of the ball feels good in the hand, and you're comfortable and like you can't miss. And sure, we can throw all off season long, but you don't have guys, running on the back of your receivers. You're not, always having a window to throw into and anticipate. And so it does take some time of seeing that for, the quarterback and getting those throws and getting those reps. And that's the same as, those guys being physical and, withstanding some of the hits, withstanding the tackles and the pads and playing through the contact at the line or at the end of the catch. And so I think, now is where you start really seeing game-like reps and game-like practices happen day in and day out. And guys are going to really start, separating themselves and showing why they are who they are, and other guys showing why they can, get more opportunities and make plays here within this next week.
Dan Greenspan, Associated Press. With Nate getting the run with the ones right now, is there anything you do or can do as a quarterback to help accelerate his development? Yeah,
I mean, for one, just make sure that he understands some of the calls. I know yesterday, we had a call, I would say, as an advanced call that, maybe he hadn't heard that much. So for me, it's about just communicating things like that, that we're doing, whether it's at the line or calls that I may make, that may mean something, that may not mean something, and when they're coming, that therefore he understands exactly what they mean, and he can play with confidence, and he's not overthinking, something that I said that's going to slow him down on his assignment. So, that's important for me to do with any of those guys who are coming in and getting an opportunity in the first reps, because I can kind of get in that groove like a game and say things that, we don't necessarily always say. So it's just about making sure that they're confident in all the calls.
Louis Scruggs, NBC5. Going back to Mingo, can you talk specifically in terms of what you think you can do with him in the red zone, and if you had a guy that big before out there?
I don't know if I've had a guy necessarily that big. Amari was a bigger guy, but I don't think as big as Mingo is. And what's that? And is it? Yeah, Daz. Yeah, I had a guy that big. You're right. That was a dominating in the red zone. And so there's actually a rep yesterday where we ran a certain route with him and wasn't necessarily that successful. It wasn't a bad play, it wasn't a bad rep, but came back and I asked him, would you rather this or would you rather that, instead of that. And so I think it's about just communicating what he feels comfortable in, whether it be the red zone or whether it's out in the field, because the guy is strong, the guy can make plays, he's physical, and when you have the guys and the versatility that we do right now, you want to make sure that you're putting each guy in his best position and what he's most comfortable doing. And so right now it's about communicating and getting more just reps at it. And if he says, I'd rather the slant or I'd rather the fade, whatever it may be, get reps at it, that you can just continue to build his confidence and build that repertoire between the both of us.
Speak to your comfort level with Cooper Beebe now in year 2.
Yeah, so much. I think that's just credit to him and his confidence. You're going to be comfortable when your center's going up there making the calls. When you're able to change things, get from one look to another look or change the protections or change the play, and he's on it without, missing a beat and even having reminders that, help me out when I get in the mix of adding the receivers into it. Yeah, it starts with his confidence, and that's what you would expect from a guy from year one to year two, and especially a guy like Beebe who approaches the game so business-like and takes a lot of pride in his job. Yeah, it's all credit to him and just his growth and development, and trust me, he's only going to continue to get better, but I'm as comfortable as I can be with him.
Dude. Mike Ducey, Fox 4, there's a report that Lyle Collins will get a workout with the Cowboys. How would you feel about having him back in the fold?
Yeah, I just saw him back there, actually, and it was a very joyous reunion. I mean, LC's a guy that I love. Y'all know that. He's a friend well beyond the field. Me and LC just went fishing this offseason, seeing him time and time again, whether it be different guys, retirement parties. And honestly, when I was in those time of those retirement parties or those announcements, I mean, I was saying to myself and honestly grabbing Britt and people around here that know him and saying, man, I feel like he looks as good as he's ever looked and is in better shape than, I've ever seen him. And so just to see him again and just see the excitement. And, I was holding MJ at the time and he's telling her, I'm going to protect your daddy. And so nobody's going to get him. I want to hear that. And I'm sure she does too. So I'm just super excited for him to get his opportunity, understanding how much he loves the game and how much joy he can bring to the locker room. It wouldn't only be a benefit to obviously me and my comfort level with him, but the other guys in the room as well and the young guys, and just a mentality and an attitude that he plays with and practices with. I mean, the guy spent time growing up in this league with Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, and Travis Frederick, that he knows how it's supposed to look and he knows how to do things the right way. And so hopefully he kills this workout.
Hey, Dak, Sydney Staples, DG10 Sports. I want to take you back to that relationship with Cooper Beebe. How would you describe it, both on and off the field?
Yeah, Coop's a guy that obviously I feel comfortable with and super confident in, but growing obviously into one of those, Lyle relationships, and a guy that that's gonna be way more than just a teammate. And we got to golf this off season together, and may try to get out there in a couple of days with him as well. He's a fun guy. He's got a great personality, and loves to compete, whether it be golf, whether it be obviously the game of football. And so those are the people that, I pulled, or, what do you call it? Yeah, get drawn to. And he loves the game of football. And so that's important to me. And so you can be out there golfing and you're still talking about plays or looks that you may have seen. And I think that's just only going to help our communication even more as we get onto the field. And so super proud of him. And he's getting better. He's taking control of that offensive line. As I said, he's making the calls. He's taking stuff off of my plate, and that helps. So I'm super proud of him.
I asked him, what he's learned from a vet like you, and it's been plenty. But then I asked him also, have you been able to learn anything from him? Did he think he's taught you anything? He kind of laughed and said maybe probably not so much, but has he, in your opinion? Have you learned something from him?
Yeah, I mean, there's different things, I guess you can say, in the sense of the communication, and, whether you're learning things to help yourself out or you're learning ways to handle or deal with, new people or other people. I definitely have. And, one of them is just when you talk about his confidence and communication and understanding, like, the more that I can echo or pour into him, that he's right. And, don't hesitate, that, like, how quick that can build him up, that, that helps with other positions, that helps with other people. And he's a hell of a guy and a hell of a talent. So he's going to you're not worried about what he's going to do on the football field. You're just trying to make sure that his confidence and who he is at as balanced as he wants it to be, so he can get on that football field and do his job at the high level that he's been doing. And so, and then maybe hitting the golf ball from about 200 in. He's pretty solid at it. Pin high every time.
DallasCowboys.com. Early in camp and over the first half of camp, the defense had its great days with the takeaways. Feels like the offense is starting to turn the corner. How much of that do you attribute to you guys settling into Schottenheimer's scheme versus the camaraderie building, the off-season throwing sessions, going fishing with the guys and things like that?
I think it's a little bit of everything. One, obviously, it's settling into the offense, and then two, it's got just being on the same page. As you get into, little nuances and different ways an offense or play can be ran and attacked. It's about communicating, through the pick yesterday, throwing it to CD. And I was just one that, like, pure communication, right? Pure communication. If CD looks, that's a catch on his part, but there's a valid reason why he didn't look, right? And so just talking that out and discussing, like, hey, you're CD and you're in that position, it's a void. Like, I know that's not where 90% of that ball gets thrown, but I'm going to throw that ball to you, right? And so George had one today on like a slant, or a glance, and, it was just his tempo getting into there that, like, that could not be a great play if he doesn't tempo that in there, right? And I'd have to get off of that. All that just comes with the camaraderie. And the better the camaraderie is, the easier those conversations are to talk and to correct people on. And the more that we get these reps in the offense, the more we're going to feel, gelled into each other and just getting out there and playing fast and not thinking. And so I think that was what today was, some examples of that.
Last one, Todd. We're not going to talk to you before you practice against the Rams. How important is that practice for you, knowing you probably won't play in the preseason, I guess?
Yeah, very important. As important as pretty much any of these practices are, especially, you're putting in these installs, getting new looks. This is a new defense for me, than I faced them, I guess, last year, right, and the year before. So all of it is, but it's definitely important when, you're playing a team that you could play later in the year, and just wanting to go out there and put a good product on tape. And at the end of the day, it's going to be about making sure I lead the guys and make sure they know how important it is for all of us. And not necessarily just me or the guys who aren't playing in the preseason, but how important it is for us to get game-like reps against another team that we're going to need to use some of these plays and conversations and things that are going to come up in this practice to do us well and for our benefit. And whether they're good or bad, I think if anything, the communication and the films after this practice are what's going to be monumental. So super excited about it. Got to do it last year, and I thought it was huge. So I'm looking forward to it again.